Another Insta Live, this time with Bradley, who shared his story in Time magazine about his male factor infertility due to years of steroid abuse. Bradley candidly shares his journey to where he is now and how he's dealing physically and emotionally with male factor infertility. We also talk a lot about many issues that people dealing with infertility face, including sex life and the all-time favorite, other people's opinions about your journey. I hope you enjoy.
So I want you to tell us about your early 20s, your mid-20s, your late 20s, and how you got here.
How did I get here? All right, so my early 20s were like most people in their early 20s. I was burning the candle at both ends. I got into bodybuilding probably in my late teens, probably like in 18, 19. And in my early 20s, I was actually also partying quite a bit. The extracurricular activities were of the illegal nature, to say the least. I worked in Vegas for a little bit, so you can imagine how that went. I've been in the gym business in and out since I've been 16. I started really getting into bodybuilding probably towards my mid-20s, or like 24, where the steroid use that's where it really ramped up. Okay. So when you use steroids and performance-enhancing drugs, there's called cycling. So you cycle on and cycle off when you do it the quote-unquote smart way. I did that for probably the first 4 years of using steroids, and then from about 22 until about 27, I never really went off. I would have what I would call the blasting periods, where I would use mass amounts, to my coasting periods, where I use more or less what is not a moderate dose, but what's prescribed to men who are on testosterone replacement therapy. I was using still a little more than that, even on my coasting. So I got into bodybuilding. I competed a few times. I've done a couple of strength competitions where obviously as well I was still using performance-enhancing drugs and steroids. And if anybody has questions, please chime in. And then towards, it was 2016. So that means I was 27 when I proposed to my wife, Brittany. And at the time, I was actually getting ready for my last show. And I had taken the steroid use to a point where 7 or 10 days beforehand, I went to then my fiance, and I told her I just couldn't do it anymore, because the pain, my joint pain, had gone to another level. Not only did I not cycle off, I didn't get my blood drawn the way I should have. I never did any of the precautionary things that you should do when using illegal steroids. So then after that show, we had a conversation, and she was like, "All right, we're done. This is the end of the line. And I agreed. I was like, you're right. If I pull out of this show, because I put everything I had into that. So after that, I went cold turkey for a little bit, and that was pretty miserable. Yeah. Just completely went off. My body no longer produces testosterone, for anybody that's wondering. And when I went cold turkey, for about, hi Mandy. Mandy's actually the journalist who interviewed me. Mandy, this is Monica. So when I went off all of the illegal steroids, what happened is my testosterone levels tanked. Kind of like what's happening right now, but a little more mild level. And I lasted for about, my wife will probably remember better than I do, but I think I lasted for maybe 6 weeks, until I tapped out, and I had to go to a hormone repair specialist, to put me on testosterone replacement therapy. And when I went to the doctor, maybe it was a little longer. Maybe it was 7 weeks. See, thanks, babe. 7 weeks. But by the time I went to the doctor, my testosterone levels went from the thousands, like the 900 to 1100 area, down below 200, it's massive. And for anybody that doesn't know, a woman's testosterone levels probably range between, I want to say, like 50 to like 125. Men's testosterone ranges at a healthy level should be between like 500 and 700.
Yeah.
I was under 200. And we'll get into where I'm at now, which is even more exciting. But so I went on testosterone replacement therapy, and that was kind of my life until we got married. And when we got married, there was obviously the conversation of having children. So eventually, I don't know when, between wedding day and now, I think it was probably about a year, and I got my first semen analysis. And that's when all this began.
Yeah. When reality hit.
When the big fat 0 on your semen analysis shows up and it says you're azoospermic, and you go, what the hell? I never thought this was going to be me. How the hell did I get here?
Yeah. And I guess that's, the burning question for most people. I mean, you obviously went super extreme, and there's warning signs. There has to be warning signs. You're taking a illegal substance, and you still did it.
So why did I do it?
So why?
So all the commenters on Time Magazine's article, they can finally get the answer. Why did I do it? Why did I do it? It's really simple. First of all, I never wanted kids. Growing up, I was a camp counselor for many years. I ran a summer camp for a few years. Eventually, I taught kindergarten for 2 years, and after I taught kindergarten, I was like, absolutely not. Hell no, I don't want kids. You guys are monsters. I don't want to deal with nothing about children do I want. And I was already using, by the time I was teaching, I was already using steroids and competing in bodybuilding and all that. And yes, there are signs. There are forums. It's the internet. You can literally find anything you want on the internet. But I had friends that were competitive bodybuilders at the elite level that had children. I have friends that were competitive bodybuilders at the amateur level that had children. So in my mind, it was always like, well, you just reverse it. Or like, maybe I'm not, maybe I'll be fine if I go off. I didn't realize when I started taking steroids that one day I would get married. One day I'd have a wife. And one day when I looked at my wife, I'd go, oh no, like kids sound like a good idea. Mm-hmm. You don't think about that thing when you're any of those things when you're young. All you think about is the next day. And all I wanted was to be a competitive bodybuilder. All I wanted to do was make a career out of it. I didn't care what it took. I had a one-track mind. And I definitely, I hear someone in the background. I never took my future into consideration.
Yeah.
Other than bodybuilding, that was my future.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't. I know for me, my lifestyle, and I didn't have a dramatic lifestyle. I had a normal party girl lifestyle, but I never used a legal substance. It was just alcohol, and I ate what everyone else was eating. I was, not unhealthy, but I guess in hindsight, I wasn't healthy. And right. Even if you told me at the beginning of my fertility journey at 27, like, what you're doing right now is having an effect on your fertility, I would be like, no, it doesn't. Like, people get pregnant all the time, exactly like me. And you don't think about, I think a lot of women will be watching this who have been put on the birth control pill from a really young age. It's a substance that hundreds of thousands of women get put on, and a large proportion of them are coming off of it now, and their fertility is absolutely screwed up because their body never naturally has had a cycle.
Right.
So there's a lot of things. I mean, your case is extreme. Yes, steroids is extreme, but I think it's a very good highlighter for everyone to go, okay, if they're dealing with infertility issues, what am I putting inside my body that could be having this effect? Because it's down to genetics, and I think that's why you see some people can do that and be fine, or, get their sperm health back up, and some people can't. And it's down to your genetics of how much you can, whack your body before it's gonna break.
Before it just taps out, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know that. No one has that knowledge. It's always hindsight's a bitch, right?
It's absolutely, absolutely. Actually, ever since I finally posted about the article on my page, There are, and any of you gentlemen that have reached out to me, don't worry, I will not speak about you personally, but for all of you that have reached out, there are many of them that are azoospermic for no reason. There's no blockage, there's nothing. But they're still going through or have gone through the same things that I'm currently going through to at least some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're right. It can happen. I see it in my kind of community. You know, the man's completely healthy, and he goes and gets a sperm count, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's definitely, it's interesting.
Yeah, and so how are you dealing with those changes then? Because it's, for you, kind of explain to people now what you're doing to get some kind of sperm count going.
So we're now going into month 8, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure my wife will correct me in a second. Let's see. Nope. All right, I think we're at month 8. Okay, so I think we're going into month 8 of me trying to I guess essentially rebuild my sperm count. Somebody just put something there.
Yeah.
I can't read it. I'm going to keep talking. Okay, so anyways, so for those of you that are in the room, so we're on month 8, and what that means is 8 months ago, my doctors pulled out my testosterone completely. I was on testosterone repair therapy for about a year because my body does not produce any. And we tried to couple HCG with the testosterone. But first we tried to lower the testosterone, and originally I was prescribed 750 IUs every other day. And we cut my testosterone dosage to a quarter, and I wasn't responding. So 8 months ago, we pulled out my testosterone completely, which I'll get into the side effects of that in a second. And 8 months ago, they also then bumped my HCG from 750 to 1500 IUs every other day. And for those of you that don't know, do the math really quickly. There's 12,000 IUs in a bottle. And at that point, I was going through 4,500 a week. And each bottle isn't cheap. So don't forget, I'm talking about the physical and emotional. The financial part is also difficult. So we pulled up my testosterone completely. And 3 months in, I could be messing up the timelines, but 3 months in, we did a semen analysis, and I was still azoospermic. And that was hard because I had been on no testosterone. I had been taking HCG, which was double the original dose, which has its own side effects. And there was still no move on the test, and that was that was a hard pill to swallow. So my doctor at that point was like, let's try another 3 months, and let's see what happens with 3, because then I would have had now 3 months completely with no testosterone in my system. But now going to the next, so he was hoping that from month 3 to month 6, we would see a change because my system would be flushed out of testosterone, which for you gentlemen out there, no testosterone in your sex life, don't go hand in hand. So from month 3 to month 6, the regimen was the same. It got bumped to 1,500 IUs every other day. And that semen analysis at the end of that took us from, I'm missing somewhere in here. There was a semen analysis at one point where I think the numbers were like, I had like 500,000, which is 500,000 to you guys is nothing. The ideal number they want to see is somewhere between 20 and 40 million. So 500,000, I know it sounds like a lot. It's nothing. It might as well be a flat zero. Mm-hmm. So I did start producing semen, which is like, hallelujah. That's great. Like that was the first sign of hope. So then we stuck on it for another 2 months, which brings me into month 8. And I went from 500,000 to 4.4 million, which I was like, oh man, like at that rate, I was doing the math. At that rate, if I keep going, we should get to that 20 million, no problem. Well, it doesn't work that way. No. Went to the doctor. I was all excited because I was like, I've got 4.4 million. This is great. I get to the doctor, and the doctor is pretty much like, yeah, that's still really low. I was like, and that was a pretty big hit. which, and at that point, like I said, I'm now going into month 8. When we saw the 4.4 million, the doctor suggested that we bump the ACG up again. So now I'm at 3,000 IUs. So keep doing the math, guys. 3,000 IUs every other day. That means I go through a vial every 4 injections. So yeah. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the following Monday, I'm out of a vial. Oh, good. I'm sorry if we didn't answer it. Tell me.
No, she did. Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see it. So now I'm at 3,000 IUs every other day on top of anastrozole, which is an estrogen blocker, Monday and Thursday, because my estrogen levels have gotten so high. My testosterone levels as of my last hormone blood test, my testosterone is at 157. I'll say it again, 157. I am just 7 points higher than the max of a woman. And my estrogen levels are all out of whack, along with other aspects, my SHGB, my sex hormones, I forget what it is. But essentially, they had to put me on more of an estrogen blocker because my nipples are really sensitive. Yeah. And I guess with that, I hope I answered the question. Maybe is that a good segue into the side effects?
Yeah. Let's talk about the side effects. I mean, just going into infertility, it's not just one hormone that you're messing with. Like, you have a male factor and female factor. So it's a really big thing to, just, retrain our brain to think it's all connected. You can't just focus on, your scrotum or your uterus. You really have to be focusing on a whole body, a whole holistic thing, because a lot of the time, what may be causing your infertility has nothing to do with that, Absolutely. and then the side effects of not having, let's reiterate, your case is really extreme. But the side effects of being on all these hormone replacement drugs is crazy. And I think it's really good for everyone to hear this, especially women, because most of the time it's the woman who has to do all the hormone replacement, and they beat themselves up because they a lot of the time become a raging bitch, and then their relationship with their partner starts breaking down because of those issues, and it just, it spirals. So it does. Yeah, it's hard. But yeah, let's talk about the side effects of your therapies.
So the side effects, I hope you guys are all ready for this, because this is the super fun part. So the side effects, the obvious, my testosterone levels have completely tanked. That's due primarily to the steroid use. But I was under a doctor's care having testosterone replacement therapy done because my body no longer produces testosterone. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens when you pull a man's testosterone completely out of him? First thing that happened was I lost a ton of weight. I'm down about close to between 25 and 30 pounds. Now, keep in mind, I'm not trying to lose weight. I haven't really changed the way I eat by any means. That's, you guys that follow me, you see what I do, you see that I still work out, you see all those things. So I've lost a ton of muscle, and even though I'm eating, I'd say I'm spot on probably about 80% of the time, which is how I've been. Even in my bodybuilding days when I was in my off season, I'd eat about 80-20. I'd eat pizza, burgers, fries, on top of my good food, and I'd still maintain a pretty solid looking physique.
Yep.
Now, even being in a caloric deficit most days, I have this fun little spare tire around my abdominal area, which I've never had in my life. I have, like I said, my pecs they're very sensitive, and they feel very soft. My strength is down by, I couldn't even tell you percentage. I mean, I used to deadlift, upwards of 500s, close to 600 pounds. I used to squat in the 400s. I'm happy to hit 315 on a back squat for a double. I used to do that for sets of 15. My clothing, it doesn't fit anymore because I've gotten so small. I used to be busting out of a size large. There are times I can fit into a size small now. And mentally what that does to you is it's pretty hard. I remember when we were shopping. Well, there was one day in particular where I tried something on, and I just shook my head at my wife Brittany. I was like, this is fucking terrible. And excuse my language, but I'm going to be very frank with you guys. And she was like, you know what? Let's just go get you some new clothing. You're cranky. My wife's telling me I'm cranky. You're cranky. Yes, I am quite cranky, and I'm very lethargic all the time. I can go to sleep by 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm also not motivated the way I normally am. I'm a very go-get-em kind of person, and it's a fight to even get out of bed some mornings. But going back to that story about the shopping, we went and I was trying on clothing, and I was grabbing size medium shirts, and they were fitting like trash bags.
Yeah. Which,
from someone who is a bodybuilder, who is barely fitting into a large, to not even be able to fill out a size small in a matter of 8 months is a psychological mindfuck, to say the least.
Yeah. And I think everyone feels that when you're on those kind of, drugs during infertility. Women obviously go the opposite way. They gain weight. They get the bloating, all those factors. And I don't want to downplay it, because it is just in your head. It's not you.
Oh, I don't feel like, I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, I don't know who I am right now.
Yeah. You start losing your identity. And even though it's, hopefully it's going to be a short-term thing for most people doing these, drugs, it's still really important to have that backup, or have that in you, to keep supporting yourself and going, okay, this is just going to be temporary. Mm-hmm. It's hard. This is not me. This is not who I identify with, but I will get through it.
Yeah. Now, the identity portion and like not feeling like yourself. I mean, I tell Brittany all the time. I mean, there's times I'm not a crier, and I could literally be watching a commercial about puppies, or if we watch something sad on TV, I'm the one who cries. I'm like, babe, what's wrong? Nothing.
Right?
Nothing. It was the ACSA commercial. I think that's the company about the dogs. That was really sad. That poor dog. That's me though now, and it's never been me. I can I know you said you wanted to talk about the identity when we were speaking before, but yeah, I don't know who I am. How I feel in my head. I see you, Women's Health. How even the way I think sometimes, like my mind could take something that I normally wouldn't get bent out of shape of, and it just runs. Like it just runs. I joke around with my clients. I'm like, but no, it's not really a joke, because if you were actually to look at the blood panels, it'd probably be similar. I'm pretty much a menopausal woman.
Yeah.
On my blood panels, if you look at my blood panel and a menopausal woman's blood panel, they're very similar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and your hormones play into your thoughts, your serotonin levels, your hormone levels. I mean, it plays into everything.
Yeah.
I crave chocolate. I've never been a chocolate person. I like sour candy. I mean, I can't. That is the most mind-blowing thing to me. I've always been Sour Patch Gummy Bears. That was my thing. Chocolate was like, hit or miss. I crave chocolate like nobody's business. and that's not even a joke. I completely understand the chocolate craving thing. Yeah. I crave it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's uncontrollable, because when that craving hits, I'm like, I gotta find a piece of chocolate.
And people don't realize it's a hormone imbalance.
Absolutely.
It's not that you don't have willpower not to eat chocolate. You literally, your body is all screwed up, and you cannot control it. No,
and coming from the bodybuilder portion of my life, you want to talk about willpower. I've dieted for 20 plus weeks. There's times where I eat tilapia for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, literally 6 meals a day, eating tilapia and asparagus for like 7 to 10 days. So you want to talk about willpower. I got that nailed down. Yeah. Now, forget about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why a lot of, people in the situation beat themselves up and feel like a failure, and then they get brought down even more, is because they think, I have no willpower, I'm not good enough. You see other people do it, they're fine. And it's just a spiral.
It's thank God. And Mandy, if you're still listening, like I said, you did what you had to do as a journalist. But the time we did almost 4 hours of interview. Mm-hmm. And in that interview, I go into a lot of detail about many things that didn't get talked about in the article, which is fine. They used certain quotes of mine to support what they wanted to get by. or what they wanted to what they wanted to say in their message, and it was that there's a lot of shame based around male infertility, which we get into later. But what I was gonna say, hold on, you just asked me something. What did you just ask me again?
I think there was just your willpower, and there's just so much more about the fertility imbalance, your hormone imbalance,
and people beating themselves up over it. Yep. It's really easy to beat yourself up over it because you're sitting there, you're racking your brain out. You're going, why am I doing these things? Why are these things happening to me? Why? What? You don't realize that this is all internal. It's not you. It's the hormones at play that are making you feel like you don't want to get out of bed, like you want chocolate. Like I have 3 different projects I'm working on right now, aside from my regular business. It takes everything in me to sit down and go, just work on it. Mm-hmm. Just work on it. Because nothing in me wants to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's insane. So, we've talked about re-identifying yourself. How are you doing that now? How are you trying to? Because it's a forever change for you. You know, I did say, there's going to be some people where their fertility journey, being on those drugs, is a short period of their time. I had a 9-year journey, but for you, it's a forever journey now. This isn't, just about infertility. This is about your long-term health. So you're going to have to re-identify with maybe not being your former self.
It's something that's happened by nature almost right now. The silver lining is that once we do get everything up and working again, and Brittany's pregnant, and we get past the scary window, and we freeze my semen, I will go back on testosterone replacement therapy because my doctor, with all the HCG I've been taking, my doctor really truly thought, he said, there is a chance because you're only 30 that you might actually start to produce testosterone again. And after my last meeting, when he looked at blood work, he looked at me and he goes, oh no, he goes, you were right. You will be on testosterone for the rest of your life. Because, and I told him when I walked in, when I first met him, I was like, I will be one of your patients for life. Yeah. And he was like, no. Now that we're 9 months in with massive amounts of HCG, which should kickstart my testosterone production, it hasn't. So the silver lining is I will feel more like myself to an extent once it's all said and done. But in the meantime, redefining myself, my business is based around 2 things. The way I look, the way I can make my clients look. Mm-hmm. The way I look like right now, yes, to the average person, I look like I'm in better shape than the average person. But for my industry, I don't. Mm-hmm. My social media is heavily based in what I put out there. When I was getting ready for an event called Super League, it's how much can you lift, and I don't put out content like that anymore because I can't. It's not. There's nothing for me to put out there. So as a brand from the business side, I've gone more into educating. I've gone more into trying to teach and to try to give bite-sized little bits of information that these people can take with them to the gym, or however they want to apply what I put out there. As a person, if I'm being completely frank, I'm holding on to whatever part of me there is left. I'm not trying to lose that. That is still me to a core. Is still the person who gets up early in the morning. That's why I still get up at 3:30. That hits the gym. That pushes through when they don't want to. And it's my workouts used to be very different. Now I'm happy when I can get in if I get in a really good 40 minutes or 45 minutes and it's good, I'm yeah, I curled those 25-pound dumbbells. All right. Those 25s felt great today. But most of the time it's not like that. Most of the time it's just me going through the motions. And that's hard. Not to mention the strain it puts on. Let's just go into all of it if you want. The side effects I didn't talk about. Your sex life goes down. Not when I say down, I mean out the door completely.
Out the door. Yeah.
Yeah, out the door.
Sorry to interrupt, but the fact is that, it's kind of the same when you're dealing with being on infertility drugs, you have strict, like, don't have sex then, don't have sex that. So your sex life, it's just so, ironic. It's just like you're trying to make a baby, but you can't have sex.
Well, it's not even about not being able to. It's literally, it's never crossed my mind. And if you ask my wife, I'm sure she'll chime in if she's still here.
Yeah.
Babe, if you are, chime in on what I'm normally like. But I can go, I just the other day, I think I looked at Brittany, I was like, are you dying yet? Like, do you need me to, like, take a little something? Are you okay? Because I literally don't ever think about it, which normally, I don't think she's in here right now. Normally, we have a very healthy sex life. We're married. We've been together for 6 years. She's not. Yes. Okay.
No sex zone.
Yeah, exactly. And we've always had a very healthy sex life, and it's gone from like a normal healthy sex life to literally just flatlining. Like, absolutely not. It doesn't get out.
You're dead to me.
So, gentlemen, for you guys that are wondering about it, like what it does to you, we're gonna be. Oh wait, maybe it is 5 years.
We're causing a domestic life on Instagram.
Oops. Okay, anyway, but your sex life goes completely out the window, and it's not because you can't. I mean, physically you can't. Like, if you think you can get a hard on, good luck. I have to take sometimes. My prescribed Cialis dosage is 20 milligrams. For anything to even move, I have to take 60 milligrams, which means I have a really bad headache the next day, and sometimes into the following day. And that's not even a guarantee that anything moves. So, gentlemen, if you think you're having sex and going through fertility treatment, no, it's not happening.
And to be honest, like, even if the woman is having the issues and going through all the treatment, your natural sex life is gone.
It's gone. No, it's gone.
I think you just have to realize that everyone goes through that. That it's very, very rare that you're going to meet a couple who's dealt with infertility. And I would like to point out, too, that it's not just when you're on the drugs. It's so emotional, infertility itself, that, like you say, you get beat down and then you don't even feel like it. It's not even something, and especially before you start fertility treatment, and so, like, say you're trying naturally, like, your sex life changes because it's timed.
Right. It's not spur of the moment.
It's not what sex is supposed to be to a couple. It comes with demands, and it's hard. And it's never fun for the guy either. If anyone doesn't go follow the swim team. He's really candid about, his wife going, right, let's go. And he's like, no, I don't want to have sex with you again.
I can't right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking to, there is an old client of mine that reached out to me. And I was actually talking to him yesterday because he saw the article. And he was telling me about his IVF journey. And I said, so what happened to Dan? He goes, we actually decided not to have kids. Yep. He got a semen count up. Him and his wife had his semen frozen. She had, I think, 8 embryos on ice. And when it was all said and done, they were just so mentally drained from the whole experience that they were like, we're just not ready for this right now. It just left such a sour taste in their mouth. And I can't blame them. I look at you. You went through, you said 7 years?
9.
9 years. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like for 9 years. We're only 9 months in, and we're only on my end. We haven't even started the IVF part.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, I guess I was really lucky that I would say probably halfway through, I started really working on my mental outlook about life, not just infertility, about life. And that's the only thing that got me through. You have to readjust how you look at life when you're going through a big challenge, and not only a big challenge, but something you want to see through. And for most people who deal with this stuff, it is up and down, and a lot of time it's down, 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 and then maybe a little bit up. And so to be able to get through it, you have to kind of become this hippie of a person and try your hardest. Not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows, and that's not what I promote.
Most days aren't going to be.
Most days are, but it's how you deal with the dark, and then you're able to keep going and going if you want to. I'm not saying just go all the time, but like that kind of hurts my heart to hear you go through all this treatment, and then at the end of it, you can't even follow it through because you're so emotionally drained from it all.
Yeah,
and I get it. I understand that.
I was actually going off that. Brittany and I were talking about it just last night or the other night. And we were talking about what I'm going through, and like the mental, the physical. And I told her, I said, I know it's probably like the worst thing you can possibly do. I said, but I can't think about it too much. I can't spend too much time thinking about it, because when I do, I get down a dark hole real quick. And the second I get down that dark hole, it's like, to pull out of that, it's very difficult. Hard. Yeah, it's very difficult to pull out of that hole. Yeah. So it's almost, you're saying that, you have to have this hippie attitude, which is great. Like, I love that reference. In my mind, when you were like, we started talking about it, I was like, no, you have to have a calloused attitude. Like, which is not exactly maybe it's not the greatest thing either, but like, you can't, going back to your thought process when you're on all these hormones and you're going through it, like, first of all, your relationship gets very tested, whether you want to admit it or not. Yeah. Your relationship, take sex out of anybody that's married, engaged, dating, take sex out of your relationship for 4 weeks. Yeah. 4 weeks. Truly take it completely out of your relationship. See how that affects your relationship. And if you're going to tell me that it doesn't affect it, it absolutely does. Yeah. That intimate connection with your partner is something that you don't realize how important that is until it's gone completely.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, you're nippy at whoever's doing the hormone replacement is the nippy one. And then
I take full responsibility.
You know what I mean? So there's not, like, the sex plays a huge part of it, but it's all the little things around that. The financial strain is huge. There's just so many elements that get put into it. And, I definitely think you have to have maybe an out of sight, out of mind mentality to, like, protect yourself. But then at the same time, I feel like you need to have that, not like, I'm just losing my train of thought, but just have that in your head.
In the back of your head, yeah.
This is not going to be the end of the world.
No.
It fucking sucks right now, but it's not going to be the end. Everything ends, no matter what the outcome is, and I got to keep going, and I got to keep pushing. And I want to be happy. You want to be happy in your life, and so it's just fighting for that. And I know it's hard when you're on the drugs. Trust me. And for you, like I take my hat off, because for me, let's say out of my 9-year journey, I had a total of, I want to say, 7 months on drugs, and that wasn't even continuous. That was like a year off, right. So for you, it is a continuous thing that you need to deal with,
So, yeah, it's definitely, the drugs are fun, to say the least. Because, I just the other day, I think I took my first 3,000 IU injection on a Monday. I think it was maybe like Wednesday or Thursday something happened, and I was like, there's no way that the drugs are already playing a factor. And I told Brittany about whatever situation that it was, and she was actually like, yeah, you went from 750 to 1,500. Now you just doubled it again to 3,000 IUs. Like, these are your hormones. Like, you just doubled what you're putting into your body. So you've now taken twice the amount. Like, of course it's playing a role. Yeah. So. Yeah.
So let's go to the next question that I had for you. I found it a little bit like ironic or weird. At the end of your article, you said you were playing around, like you haven't talked to really anyone about what you were going through, and you were playing around with going onto YouTube and documenting your journey. And I'm sitting there going like, you're in a major magazine, dude. Like, if this isn't coming out at like the grand gesture, I don't know what is. But I mean, I got the fact that, you weren't telling all your followers or, forward. You know, not
Right.
everyone picks up Time magazine. Like, people really had to
Exactly.
probably seek you out to find that. But so why? You know, what was the push that made you do the article?
So Mandy found me. Mandy is the journalist who wrote the piece. Mandy found me through a men's support group on Facebook, which is actually the biggest support group for men with infertility online. And I think it has a whopping 934 members, which is appalling, to say the least. Because if you go into a women's support group or a couple support group, there's tens of thousands of members. But being a man who is not comfortable talking about, you know, all the shit, for lack of a better word, I get it. So Mandy found me. Mandy found the moderator. The moderator had posted in the group would anybody. She specifically wanted somebody from the States because in the UK, infertility is spoken about a lot. You lived in the UK, and it's. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good now. Yep.
Sorry, let me put my battery mode on. Hold on. Are we all good, friends?
Yep.
Okay, so Mandy found me through the group, and the post from the moderator was, there is a journalist from Time Magazine that wants to interview one of us, but they want them from the States. Is anybody willing to do the interview? And I saw that, I was like, no. No. Just no. So I let it sit. I happened to check back by chance. I think I got a notification that somebody commented within 24 hours, but it was a gentleman from Ireland, I think. And I was like, it's already been up for a day, and I'm like, wow, there's one post. Shit. What do I do?
Yeah.
So my thought process was, I'll throw my name in the hat because I felt I'm from the other side of the pond. And I just felt like it was like glaringly like speaking to me. I was like, no big deal. I'll throw my name in the hat. I'll tell them my story. The second I use the word steroids, they're not going to want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Well, Mandy, if you're still in here, you proved me wrong because I heard from Mandy, I think within like 12 hours of putting my name in the hat, and we had an appointment scheduled. We had our first interview scheduled within 24 hours. And at that point, I really didn't know what I was getting into. But the reason I agreed to do it, and Brittany and I had a couple conversations prior to it, I kept saying, and I will continue to say this, if I'm able to touch one life through that article, if I'm able to connect with one man out there that feels the way, that is currently feeling the way I've been feeling for these past 9 months, and let them know that there's one person out there that feels the same way, they're not crazy, they can contact me. I'm not hard to find. They say my name in the article. They say I'm from Los Angeles, and they say you put that in on social media. Once they posted it on there, you can find me.
You were really easy to find.
Clearly, everybody's found me, the good and the bad. But if I was able to touch one man's life, that was worth it, because that man would touch somebody else's and somebody else's and somebody else's. That's why I keep using the hashtag change one, change many. So
and I think your story goes out to two groups, not only the infertility but your bodybuilding, and get that message out there. If guys are going to be using steroids, at least try to use them sparingly, or
sorry. Oh my God! I don't know your real name. You have reached out to me about you and your husband. Yes. I'm so happy you guys read it, and I genuinely, honestly meant I'm here for you guys if you need anything. But going back to what you were saying, the bodybuilding, there is no bodybuilding without steroids. I will never hate on the sport. I love the sport. I think it is one of the most, the what you're able to mentally do to control every facet of your physique,
her name's Julie.
Julie, hi. For you to mentally prepare yourself to put yourself through the rigorous training, the eating and all that, I think it's incredible. But without steroids, bodybuilding, there's natural bodybuilding, but there's no actual bodybuilding without steroids. And my story, somebody else's story, it doesn't matter how many stories are going to come out. It's never going to stop people from taking steroids. But the thing that I didn't have, you can read in a forum. You can go research on Google. You can literally do all of those things. But until you hear someone's story, because you can look at top bodybuilders, they got kids. Mm-hmm. I got a buddy of mine. He's a very competitive bodybuilder. Guess what? He's got a baby.
Yeah.
But when you hear the story directly from someone's mouth, and it's like, yeah, maybe they have kids, and like, I will be that person too. God willing, I'll have a kid. But what did it take to get there?
Yeah.
9+ months of putting my body through absolute hell. My body, my mind. Thank God my business isn't tanking, because there's a lot of my clients value the knowledge I have, not just the way I look. Because if my business was based on my physique, are you kidding me? Like, I haven't done a fitness modeling shoot. I can't even tell you the last time I did that. I just did a photo shoot yesterday.
Me neither. I can't tell you.
No, but I did a photo shoot yesterday, and I literally looked at the photographer. I was like, so I'm not used to doing photo shoots with a lot of clothing on, and I'm not taking my shirt off. And he just kind of looked at me like, but you won't take your shirt off? I'm like, no. That's just not happening. So if my career was based in the way I look and just my physique, like, yeah, I'd be screwed.
Yeah. And that's big. I mean, for you to, it's not just like your personality in the sense, it is your livelihood that you're putting on the line, or you felt you were putting on the line. But yeah, I think your story is going to touch a lot more people, and spark the conversation in both fields, which is super amazing.
And gentlemen, if you're listening now, if you're listening later, if you are a steroid user, I'm not going to try to steer you in the way of not using them, because I know what it's like to be in that mindset, and you've got tunnel vision, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Go get your blood work. Get your blood work done on a regular basis. I can't stress that. I cannot stress that enough. Get your blood work done. If you've ever had the thought of having kids ever in your life, go get a semen analysis. And if you've got good numbers, go freeze them right now. Go freeze them now. Because if you're not going to stop using, if you're not going to cycle on and off, you're not going to do any of that, go freeze them. Because this side of it, I'm giving you literally just a blip on the map of what it's like. Yeah. If you were to talk to Brittany and I about it, is the issue still on the newsstands? Also, thanks to you both. Oh, thank you, Lindsay.
Lindsay's so sweet.
I'm not sure if it's still on newsstands. But
I don't know either. Yeah.
I think it is, because I think I had a friend who actually ordered it online. Gentlemen, again, if you are going to use steroids, I can't deter you from doing that, but I can't stress enough. Go get your blood work. If you've taken a semen analysis, awesome. If you've got some in there, freeze them. If you don't,
just take charge. I wrote a blog post about if I had a note to give my future self. Not that I would have listened. I would have never listened to me. But
I wouldn't have listened to me either.
Right? It's just about inspiring people just to take charge and just, watch your health a little bit. You don't have to stop partying or stop doing the steroids or working out.
I would love if I could tell people. I would love it if I could tell people, but you're not going to listen to me. So it's like, there's no point for us to be like, stop doing this. No, just take the precautions.
Yeah. And you can only talk about your story and just hope that resonates with someone, that is going to just kind of maybe spark something in their brain. Even if they don't take it on board right away, 6 months down the line, and they went and got their bloods, and their bloods were awful, and they go, okay, that's me, I'm done. That's where it's at.
But if you can, and if you can save yourself through going through, man or woman, through the treatment in some way or form, if it's by freezing your eggs, freezing your semen, go do it. It's honestly like, if I knew the severity of what I would go through to try to bring, my semen count up, I would have done this years. I would have done this years ago.
We just got a little message from Women's Health. It is so emotionally draining, and we feel for you, girl.
Absolutely.
My best advice is just, take that time for yourself, and when you are at home kind of feeling low, you make sure you got your the sun's coming in, or you got some light going on, you know, get some happy music on. I mean, all the cliche dumb things, just do, and you will see that it does just trigger things. It's not about like hiding your feelings and just going to work and pushing through it. You know, take that time, you know, find your joy within whatever that is. You know, go play with some dogs at the dog park if you don't have a dog.
My baby boy is everything. That little dude, I get home, it doesn't matter how bad my day was. His little ears tucked back. If you can you bring him up here if you're still listening? But honestly, your workouts are gonna suck. They're gonna suck so badly. But you know what? Honestly, you just gotta push through, because after it, you're like, you know what? I didn't make any progress, but at least I did something that I used to enjoy, and I know it'll be easier to get back into routine. You got to find. It's really easy to give up on everything you enjoy, because nothing is enjoyable when you're in this state of mind, and you just have to just force yourself to get out there. And it's if you ask Brittany, like, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
We're homebodies as is, but like now more than ever, it's like I just don't ever want to go out. I don't. Like, I'm too tired. Not because I'm actually tired. I'm tired because the hormones are making me tired. I'm lethargic. I'm not sociable like I used to be. You know, all those things all play a role in that. And sometimes you just got to force yourself to go out. Hold on.
Yeah. It's coming up. And I was going to say with that, when you are going through fertility treatment, like we say, here comes the dog.
Come here, Bruno.
I don't know.
Come here, Bubba's.
Do you call him your fur baby?
Oh, he's my little man. Come here, Bubba's. Come here. Come say hi to everybody. Come here. Come here. Say hi. Babe, want to come say hi? Hi. Say hi, Instagram.
Look at him.
Yeah. Say hello. Say
How
hello.
old is he?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Give them kisses. Oh, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, so yeah. Say hello. Yeah. He is one and some change. Okay.
He matches your t-shirt, so I can see his eyes now. There you go.
There he is. Say hello.
Oh,
now we're gonna be get a bunch of viewership just because of the dog. If my wife came in here, she's prettier than I am. You probably get more viewership because of her too.
Actually, your wife is very beautiful, and she has beautiful photos on Instagram as well.
Thank you.
Whoever her photographer is,
we've worked with a couple.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the stuff that we're talking about.
So let's talk about that backlash. You kind of hinted to it. So Time actually put your photo and a little bit of your Zori on their Instagram account. And when we first talked, because I didn't know that it was on there, and you said, "Oh, I'm having backlash," and I was like, "What? Like, why are people backlashing you?" But so yeah,
that's why I didn't really post about it ever. I never posted about it on my page until you contacted me. So, long story short, it's partly my fault, probably partially Time's fault. I agreed to do the story, and I had to sign some kind of waiver saying that they could use the story for their paper and internet platforms. And in my mind, internet platform, Time Magazine, their website. Who's going to go to the Time Magazine website and find this? Nobody. Well, and I'm sure it was strategically done. They chose my article in the magazine, or not mine, Brittany and mine's article in the magazine to post on their social media. Yeah. And it's probably, I don't know. I don't know if it's because of my social media presence. I assume that's what it was. But I didn't know that was happening. I got an email from Mandy saying, "Hey, by the way, the article's live." I was like, "Cool." I was at work. I actually had a semen analysis that day. I was at work. I was like, "Great. I'm busy with clients. I'll read it later." And my last client, I jump in the car, and I start driving to my semen analysis. And for you guys that don't know what that involves, that means you go to a room that's about 4 feet by 4 feet. It's covered with that, like, doctor paper crap everywhere. There's a TV, there's headphones, there's magazines, there's a box of pens for you to fill out forms with, there's a sink in the corner, there's lube, there's a weird chair. and you go jack off into a cup after someone's just escorted you into that room. Super fun, especially when it's like your third or fourth one. You get really excited about it. So I'm on my way to this so fun semen analysis that I really just don't want to go do because I hate doing them. And I get a text from my buddy. He sends me a text, man, I'm so proud of you. Like, I can't believe you put yourself out there like that. And I'm going, what? Did he already see the magazine? Did he go, like, how did he see it? And he sent it to me on Instagram, and it's a screenshot from the Time Magazine Instagram. And I was like, holy crap. What's happening? And I just messaged, I was like, how'd you see this? He goes, oh, my client Evan showed me. He saw it and wanted to reach out to you, but he didn't feel comfortable. And I'm like, oh my God. No. I'm literally driving to go jack off into a cup, which I can't get my head around, and now this is happening.
Yeah.
Super awesome. So then I go into the comment section. If you guys want, you guys can go find the picture from the article. It's still there. You can go into the comment section.
Yeah.
The comments were,
go ahead.
No, the comments were they were 50-50, but the ones that were hard to read, because these people don't know me, and for some reason I just couldn't stop. Like, I mean, I've had people send me personal messages. I've had people go to my YouTube channel. I've had people go to my contact page on my website to send me personal emails, pretty much telling me that I don't deserve to have children.
Yeah, it's like the craziest thing. And I was talking to my husband about it, and he used to be one of the Red Arrows in the Royal Air Force. And so he knows, he has a little bit of insight on trolls. Like, people will just go on the internet, have no clue about, this is going to end in 2 minutes. So I'm going to shut it down right now and call you back because we still got a little bit to get through. So hold on for part 2. Hello, lovely ladies. Thanks for joining in.
Hi, guys. Sorry about that.
It was just insane what people say. And, it's funny that a lot of the comments, other than the steroid use, what you're doing, it's just insane. Like, people have no clue. But there's a lot of comments that a lot of people in the fertility kind of realm could, relate to, people telling you just to adopt. And, it's just insane the opinions people have on your life. And
just get a sperm donor. It's no big deal.
Yeah, it's just it's really insane. We did, anyone going through infertility, I would say about 90% of them have had a comment thrown at them, and from someone they know. So at least it's people that don't know you.
Correct. Absolutely. It's definitely people that don't know me. My favorite is the adoption one, and Brittany and I have talked about it. I'm not against it. But the thing is, people don't realize, they're like, oh, just adopt. It's like, well, you don't understand if you've been trying for 9 months and putting your body and your mind and in your marriage through the ringer. It's not really easy to just snap back and go, oh, okay, well, I'll just go. Oh, and on top of the fact that adoption is more expensive than, IVF and all that, because you go through an adoption lawyer and all that.
Exactly.
But
and
you can't just go like, oh, yeah, all that work I just did for, X amount of time, no problem. Let me go adopt now.
Yeah, and adoption's hard. Adoption's just as emotional as trying for your own kid, either biologically or using a donor. Like, all those steps are emotionally draining.
Of course.
And anyone who's not going through what you're going through or hasn't been through something similar, they're just not going to get it. They're not going to get it. So,
actually, my battery is real. Sorry, guys. My battery is really low. I'm at 10%. Let's move some of the questions along and get a Q&A going. But even though there's only 7 people in here, so if anybody that's watching after this, if you have questions, directly message me, directly message Monica. We're both very happy to answer.
Expensive them too, just pop any questions if anyone has any questions right now. I think we've kind of so who your support groups now. You talked about the Facebook one.
Yeah, I'm not really active. It's on the Facebook. It's really not my bag. It's just not.
Yeah.
My friend. I can't pronounce her name. I think it's Lue. But yeah, my biggest support group, honestly, my go-to is my wife. I know that sounds cliche, but it's not really easy for me to talk about this. I know it sounds crazy considering I did an article for Time Magazine. But, you know, when I'm in those dark places, my wife and actually I have a therapist.
Nice.
And yeah, and it's something I never thought I'd need in my life. And having Dr. Simpson in my life, it's really easy to just go up there and be like, and again, excuse my language, like, dude, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, what's going on? I'm like, I literally don't know. Like, I'm not myself. So, and my family.
I think that's so important, like therapy and having those really key people in your life, like support groups, and I feel like Instagram and all that are amazing, but sometimes they can be damaging as well. You know, if people aren't like contributing the way you think they should be contributing, or
right.
you know, things like that, finding those key people. And a lot of people are like, oh, should I go to therapy? Should I go to the free counseling session that my clinic has put on? Yes, 100%, you know, and find someone you click with.
Yes, and then 70% non-motel. I don't know your name, so I'm just going to keep calling you Women's Health. I actually am not sure. I don't want to... I'm not a doctor. I'm on this journey right now. Maybe Monica can chime in on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to, like, those kind of questions because there's
a lot of factors.
Yeah,
there's the motility, there's the count,
factors.
There's the morphology. Yeah. So wait for your next doctor's appointment, be patient, and, let us know. Because, I mean, me personally, I'm curious. But going back to the support group, actually, my friends and a handful of clients are also definitely a core. I mean, I have a client who comes in, every couple of weeks, he looks at me and goes, how's the count?
Yeah.
And it's the most lighthearted and sweetest way of him asking, like, hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah.
And... to have things like that, if you're a man going through it, reach out to me. If you don't feel comfortable talking to the people close in your life, that's why I did this article. You got one person, I won't judge you. Trust me, I'm going through the ringer with it. You guys know all my dirty laundry around this now, and I'm sure this isn't the last time that I'll do an interview about it. Please. Hi, Miriam. But yeah, having some kind of support group, and gentlemen or ladies, if you feel uncomfortable with therapy, I was that person that was super uncomfortable with the idea of therapy. Like, therapy is not a masculine thing. Men don't go to therapy. Men don't talk. It is the most helpful thing right now. Yeah. It is so helpful for someone to just be like, here, let me help you collect your thoughts and actually put them into something digestible for you because you can't even think straight with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And be honest with your partner.
Yeah. Yeah, so key. So last thing from you, coming from your background, I think we have two very different backgrounds about...
Very.
But what would you give advice to men, either physically or emotionally, going through any type of infertility? What would be your key point?
Sorry, I feel like that's such a heavy question. I'm gonna have to make this a little bite-sized nugget. Physically, men, you're gonna see. I'm gonna tell you what I told my wife the other night, and it's based around the idea of focusing too much on it. When I wake up every morning and I look in the mirror, it is really hard to look at myself. It is really hard to see the body that I've become because I'm not used to being that way and it's out of my control. Don't forget that it's temporary. Mm-hmm. Once you get on the backside, physically, hopefully, if you've got a good doctor, you will feel like you again, God willing. Yeah. Mentally. And my wife is going to laugh that I say this, and I'm going to hear her laughing from downstairs. You guys need to talk about it. You need to talk about what you're going through. You can't keep it inside. You'll get really resentful. You'll get down a rabbit hole in a matter of seconds. Like, there's days where, like, I just don't want to do it. And you have to have somebody, whether it's your partner, your friends, your therapist, me, the random guy on Instagram that did this crazy Time Magazine article, Monica, literally anybody. You need to talk about it, because if you just hold it in and you can't wrap your head around it, you don't have a sounding board. Be like, yo, so this crazy idea, I'm like really angry at my wife because the dinner last night didn't taste good or whatever she did. And eventually someone's gonna be like, no, hold on. Do you really feel that way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you need, the biggest thing for men, in my opinion, that are going through this, I love you too, Ellie. You need a support group, whether it doesn't matter if you know them personally. I don't care if you pay them. I don't care if you're not a talker. I'm not a talker until now.
Yeah.
You need somebody to help you get your head on straight, because 6 out of 7 days a week, your head's not going to be on straight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's really good advice. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you guys for all tuning in. And actually, let's see, my phone isn't dead yet, so we don't have a lot of you in here. Is there anybody with a quick question? I'll wait about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Any questions? And
guys that are joining, we're taking questions. If you have any questions before we get off.
I think people just enjoyed listening to us.
I know, I'm actually okay because I'm like, my phone's going to die.
Yeah. So I'm going to try my hardest to get this out to you. Instagram. Oh, here.
Do you agree with the idea of the steroids is the best way for men to get bigger and more muscular?
Look, is it loaded question? Good
yeah, that is a loaded question.
So, is it the best way? Absolutely not. Is it the fastest way? Yes. The best way, do it. Take your time. Do it the right way. Is it the fastest way? Of course. You start playing with hormones. You start changing the chemistry of your body. Like I said, I literally can't put on muscle right now because my body physically can't make muscle without testosterone. So is it the best way? Absolutely not. It is the most risky. It has the most side effects. It is the fastest. I'm not going to lie to you there. But it is
Do you
not
think
the
it's
best.
just so ingrained in your guys' culture and that bodybuilding culture that it's...
Yes. It will always be that way.
Yeah.
It will always be that way.
Yeah, so it's not... Yeah, it's just I have no, I actually took steroids to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Which is like...
Those steroids are different, yeah.
Yeah. So, but when you say you went cold turkey off your steroids, is that not crazy in itself? Because because you must have been on a lot of steroids. I was taking 25 mgs, and I had to wean myself down over
25 milligrams of what?
Started with a P.
I'll give you guys an idea, because I know there are some people that are going to be curious about my steroid usage, and I'm happy to again answer questions. You're more than welcome to text me, to message me. My medical dosage from my doctor it started at 500 milligrams, which is 250 milligrams twice a week, which is the most that you can legally prescribe to a patient. We were able to get me down to 200 prednisone.
Yes, that's it.
Good job, babe. Thanks, babe. 250 milligrams of testosterone once a week. When I was bodybuilding, I was sometimes taking upwards of 1,000 milligrams a week.
Jesus. And
my coasting dosage was 500 milligrams.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I was on it probably about the max 4 months. So you take it to help suppress your immune system. This is why, because I had natural killer cells, and when I was doing IVF and my frozen embryo transfers, I had immune suppressing drugs, and steroids was one of them. It was the one drug out of all the drugs that I took that I fucking hated the most, because it messes with your sleep. It messes with everything. And, when you have to wean yourself off of it. And I had to wear a bracelet just in case, I got in an accident. So if I was unconscious and no one knew that I was on steroids. Yeah. So, I feel your pain a centimeter. I'm not comparing myself to you, but I have been on steroids. And
everyone goes through their own journey. If we can all be compassionate and understanding of one another, that's all that matters. So, but my phone is going to die. Yeah. Guys, please, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to message either one of us. Monica, thank you so much for doing this.
My pleasure.
You've made it so that my audience has had an opportunity to get to know a different side of me. And I'm sure this is not the last time you and I will be doing something like this.
No, I think it's we've got a good friendship, and I'm excited to talk to your wife eventually.
You're more than welcome to. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Bradley, and enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. We got one question. Steroids are the worst.
So you totally get it. You totally get it. Guys, thank you all for tuning in. Those of you that'll listen later, thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to try to put this on my YouTube channel. Monica's going to put this on hers. I'm sure we'll
sort it out.
We'll get it to you guys so that you guys can watch it all in one whole thing.
Yep.
So,
all right. Thanks, Bradley.
Bye, guys.